Welcome back, guys, to another episode of this Final Fantasy IV playthrough. This is Kluya, and we're going to get right into things. Last episode, we ended up defeating the Dark Elf to get the crystal, which we need to exchange with, I guess you could say, Cain and Golbez in order to get Rosa back. We also got the airship, but right now we are about to meet up with Cain so that we can do the exchange. And you don't get to go anywhere. As soon as you go into the airship after getting the crystal, this cutscene plays immediately, and you are led to the Tower of Zot, I believe. And of course, the exchange doesn't happen here. The classic ploy. So we are going to follow them. So, of course, we have to get to the top of the tower in order to do the exchange, with Golbez waiting. Now, right here, he says you had better hurry up or else blah blah blah. When I first played through this, I was freaking out because I didn't know if there was like a hidden timer before you failed or anything like that. So that kind of added a ton of like anxiety to running this, but there actually isn't a timer. I mean, you can grind or you can hunt for treasure, do your thing. There are two pieces of treasure here that are really good. There are, I believe, the fairy claw, I don't know if it's the cookie claw or the fairy claw for Yang, and the fire sword for Cecil. So we definitely want to hunt those down before we go any further. I believe these guys are weak to ice. Let's give that a quick test before. No, they're not. I mean, it still did the job, but... So this is definitely an upgrade for him as well. And it's a pretty expensive piece of armor, but I don't think it's as necessary as the other two items I mentioned, but it is a good idea to pick up all the treasure you can. Monsters here are a little tougher than they were back at Chor in the Magnetic Cave, the Dark Elf area, but they're not that bad. It is a bit of a maze. Now, Virus is kind of expensive with the MP, but it, like, no matter what, it pretty much always gets the job done. Yeah, the turtles were weak to ice too, that's what it was. Even with the AoE diminishing damage, it did a good solid like 850. So we're gonna heal up with Cecil. which honestly, except for the occasional heal, that's about all Cecil's good for, so as far as magic goes. So we have a Flame Dog, which was a monster in a box, which guarantees that there is treasure waiting. Got a nice crit from Sid. Does this drop the Fire Sword? Yeah, there you go. Now obviously if you're fighting something that is like a fire element, you know, like fire elemental or something that's of fire, you do not want to, don't want to use that because it'll heal them, but everything else, it does really well. Counter rate in this place can get pretty crazy. So these guys are all ice-based. So this ice beast should get a beating from the new weapon we got for Cecil. Yeah, 1000 damage. Save on some MP. We're gonna use some of those Cure 1 potions we've been hanging on to for a while, kind of thin that down. There we go. These, I forgot what the translation was, but these are like Epi Girls or something like that. They really don't do much, it's just straight up melee damage. So there's the Poison Claws. Oh, he got the Charm Claws earlier, okay. So let's give Poison Claws. More fire gear. Here's the Earth Hammer, which is a pretty good upgrade for Sid. Okay. Moving on, making sure to get all this treasure. This is a good body piece for Tella. See how far Cecil's got to go for his next level. Alright, about 6 more fights. Now with any creature that's like this guy who is a summoner type creature, I guess tactically you would want to get rid of him first so he can't summon more reinforcements, but if you want more XP, you can leave him up and he can summon more reinforcements. So this is save room, which is right before the first of a few boss battles. So let's go our MP back. I'm gonna save it. Now, you may recall this group of enemies, or rather just this group, from Final Fantasy X. They were kind of an extra Aeon or summon or whatever it was that can assist you. They say they're the minions of Volvius. Yeah, the actual name is Barbarecia. Figure that one out. So they're the Magus Sisters or Magus Sisters. And I believe in 10, the Delta attack, which is what their like super ability in this is, that was like the move they did as a Aeon. Like that was like their big finisher. So the gimmick here is they kind of support each other. But the main target is Cindy. She's the tankiest, but she's the key one you have to kill in order so she doesn't bring back the others. Sandy does reflect, and then Mindy does damage off the reflected Cindy to bounce back. So since they can't reflect melee, that is what we're going to rely on the most. So with our 3 frontline guys, we're going to do melee, and then Tella is going to berserk all of them. So he's still going to be like healing if you really need it, but other than that, he's going to be berserking. Now the ironic thing about the strategy I just talked about was when targets are berserk, they don't choose who they go after, but they hit faster and harder. So even just by chance, they will just like they're gonna tear through Cindy like eventually. Which I'm getting pretty lucky because they're all going right after her. Now I can't berserk Sid because he had wall or reflect put on him. Now, if you reflect one of your guys and then nuke them, it will reflect back, but you cannot guide where the spell lands. And Yang's pretty much getting 2 attacks for every, I guess, set turn. So now that they have Berserk, we're also going to cast Haste. So now Yang's attacking constantly. Now this may reflect a little bit back on Sandy, but doesn't, Yang didn't even give her the chance. So we're gonna head back, tent, save, and then press on. So kind of spoiling the moment, but at this part we are about to lose Tella. Now, something you can do, even when party members temporarily leave, if you're doing like a replay of the game or something, before they leave, you can unequip them so that you can sell the gear or give it to another character that shares the same gear. And even, like I said, even if it's a temporary character, like let's say you lose, like let's say you were originally going to get Edward back, okay? So right before you lose him, you take all the gear off, and when he returns, the game automatically equips him with gear that's somewhat suitable for his level, or like the progress in the game up to that point. So we reach the top. We have Golbez and Kain waiting. Except Rose is missing. So we exchange the crystal. Golbez plays dumb and goes like, Rosa, what are you talking about? And Tella's just about to lose his mind, and he confronts Golbez with a scripted fight that plays out. I always thought the graphic for Golbez was amazing. So all these nukes that Tella's doing, that normally when you're using him and you're doing it against like boss battles or trash, hits like a truck, but right now it's only hitting for like 80 damage. There's like 180, like nothing much. And this was really exciting. I remember like looking forward to actually seeing Meteor cast like for the longest time. And then you saw that number, like all 9s, the classic like obliterated target for Final Fantasy. That was like the first time I saw any damage like that, so it was pretty crazy. So immediately you see Kain collapse into the corner, and then Tella does as well from being overwhelmed with using his life force to cast Meteor. So Golbez notices that Kain's mind control has been broken due to the meteor. So even though Golbez is constantly challenging Cecil and they're doing all that, I mean, he just flung Cecil across the room with lightning, but he finds that he can't finish Cecil off, and he can't figure out like why he's hesitating. So unfortunately, we lost Tella, which with Palm and Porum, you're kind of like, they kind of leave it to you to be like, well, did they make it? Did they not make it? Like, what's gonna happen? But they kind of gave him like a very definitive death, which I know for like the 5th time, just, like they didn't do that in video games really at that point. So Kane wakes up after we interact with him. So Kane remembers that they have to rush upstairs to get Rosa. And she just narrowly escapes. Now, in the Japanese version, I'm not sure about the European version, but the Japanese one, it's a guillotine. There's a giant blade that is up there and just barely misses her. Why they decided, hey, we're going to censor it, and instead of a guillotine, we're going to have like a metal ball just splatter her. I don't know really how that's any different, but anyway. So Kane gets jealous, Cecil and Rosa start smooching. Or as Sid says, they're getting cozy. So Rosa says, Kane, even though you're kind of creeping on me, we should fight as a party. Which I guess I don't mind because we just lost Tella, so we do need a fifth. And they all agree it's time to get out of here. So, we want to swap Kane and Sid. Actually, no, Kane will be jumping, so he can actually go in the back row, and Rosa as well. So now we have to look at Rosa's gear as well as Kane's. So even though she can be an archer, I kind of want her just supporting right now. Now, kind of like in this example here, if I had not taken the gear off Tella, I would not have been able to gear her up as well as I am. As for Kane, yeah, he's already geared up. And he comes with the Wind Lance. And with that, we're gonna head out. Except we are stopped. Now, whenever an Archfiend is encountered, as is here, the room will turn like a tint towards the element that they support. So, again, Kane says it's Volvulus, which is Barbarecia. Now, her main gimmicks are that once she gets spinning, she starts doing a lot of damage, and she likes to spam Stone or Petrify, and the way you get her out of the tornado is you have to jump with Kane. She also likes to do Weak, which is actually Tornado, which brings someone down to like single-digit health. So Rosa will be supporting. Cecil might help her support occasionally, but he's going to be meleeing. And other than that, everyone's going to be beating her down. Now, Petrify doesn't really do anything until it reaches, like, it completely petrifies the target. So let's get rid of that. And you can tell the progress of the petrification because the character will turn more and more gray. Like, it'll start at their feet and then go up. So let's put, she doesn't know haste yet. So let's get everyone healed up. Actually, let's get another melee hit with him because he hits like a truck. With that, she's gone. Now, even if you were lower level, these same tactics apply, although you may not want to melee with Cecil as much. He will probably do more healing to support Rosa. 5500 Gil, 1900 XP. But again, my guys, I always take time to grind in between major story plots for both, obviously, XP and Gil. So it does come in handy. So of course we couldn't just walk out. Barbarecia decides to destroy the tower before you leave, to which our handy white mage casts exit and gets us out of there. I think a reason they decide to destroy the tower, though, also as like a story gameplay thing, is because it's not an actual place on the map. You can't just go there. So I guess that kind of eliminates any questions about returning. So Rosa and the music kind of cues in that you are back at Baron, and Cid says, well, since Cagnazzo, being the Fate King, is gone, it's safe. So Piers Kane has some information for us. So after the exchange, Golbez officially collected all of the crystals, but Kane informs us that there's actually other crystals. There's dark crystals. So above ground, there's the light crystals. And wouldn't you know it, below ground, there's the dark crystals. So there's still there's still four more remaining. And so what Golbez told Kane earlier was, if they get all the crystals, the way to the moon opens, which none of them really understand. So we get the magma key, which is the clue to figuring out how to approach the discovery of the dark crystals. So Cid says we have the airship, so it shouldn't be that hard to discover information on that. But Cecil's still trying to figure out why Golbez didn't finish him off. So we rest, we get all our HP and MP back, and we're back in control. Now, I don't think I did it earlier. There is a place you can get a bunch of treasure here. I'm trying to remember. Let's take a quick look. Nope, not there. Nope. Kind of messing this up, but that's alright. I think it's on the other side. Oh, there we go. Got some ethers, got some cure 2s, life, and cure 2. And with that, we exit Baron. I'm gonna save our game. So we're going to go to the east of Baron, see how well my memory serves me. No, it wasn't to the east. Let me see what we can do. So we can cast Sight. Oh, really? It doesn't work in this version? So in the other versions, if you cast Sight while on the airship, it actually gives you a detailed map of where everything is. So we're going to zip around real quick. and there it is. So this is where we want to be. It's basically, let me see, just for reference. Okay, so Torora's over here. You're gonna go south. You have Evelyn, the Kingdom of Evelyn that's here. Then once you get there, you go east, and we land. So we are in Agart, the village of those who have ancestors who were dwarves, which should already give you a hint. Typically, like in fantasy stuff, dwarves either live in the mountains or they live underground or in caves and stuff like that. So we have this well here, and it asks us to drop an item in. So carrot's probably a bad idea. Let's try the magma key. And it's a good thing the key worked, or else you would have been kind of out of luck when you needed it. So other than that, you can go to the end. There's some NPCs you can talk to for information. You can push this lady around if you like. Oh, so there's a naming way in there. I thought it was treasure, but it's a naming way. Naming ways tend to pop up in crazy places. So there's a bunch of iron gear in here, which is actually terrible. But let's see. Yeah, and there's like beginning gear there, although there is a boomerang, which seems kind of odd. Won't be able to use that until later. So with that, we're gonna head out. And naturally we're going to go in pursuit of what we just discovered, so we go in. Then the game kind of autopilots the airship. And Kane, the whole party, they notice that the Red Wings are actually on their tail. But they're not going after them, they are actually engaging with some tanks that are on the ground. Unfortunately for the party, they are in a crossfire between them. So Sid yells out that the Enterprise is going down, and the scene fades out. So now we are officially in the underground. The airship is no longer usable, which sucks. But yeah, kind of a change of scenery compared to the where we've been for the rest of the game. A lot of the monsters down here are pretty good XP. They're almost all weak to ice, which unfortunately we're using a fire sword with Cecil, but it still does the job pretty well. So let's see what we got. Let's go for another... Yeah, let's get Rosa another level up. isn't too many places you can go right now. There's the Tower of Babel to the north, and then the Dwarf Kingdom right next to the crash site. Oh, there we go. So Rosa just learned haste, or fast. Drop 2 silver shields? That's actually a pretty good amount of money. I can't really use that right now. Actually, I think he already has silver shield. Yeah, so sell it for some profit. Let's see. Cecil's about 10 grand. Sid. Alright, let's get him one more level. Alright. Actually, let's use the tent. Let's get all our, so everyone got recovered. Let's save the file. Let's jump in, check out this place. The Castle of the Dwarves. This little girl who kind of stands out. She says, "I can't find my dolls. Have you seen them?" No, we haven't. Let's check out over here. Now you will notice that certain parts of the castle are closed off. Can't yet. Authorized dwarves only. Can't use the stairs over there. So let's buy a couple tents. Pure 2s. Yeah, there's no way I'm buying ethers. Now cabins, when you start getting further in the game, tents kind of don't do the job anymore. I think they recover like maybe like 60 to 75%. Because your HP and MP is getting really up there, so you have to start using cabins. So I know we just saved it, but we're gonna save again just because we bought the goodies, and we're gonna head back in. Actually, let me see what else. I think, yeah, you can't go to the right. Yeah, like most of the castle is all cut off. So, again, just to save us a little bit of trouble, kind of running out. I gotta sort my inventory. We are going to unequip Sid's gear because, spoiler, he is about to take a break from the party. Go. So the king says, "Glad you're fine." I guess he noticed that a giant airship crashed next to the castle, and he says, "I am the king of dwarves, Gaiet, or Giet, and the ruler of the underground." He says, "Do you still have the dark crystals?" And I guess he's surprised that we came for them, but he said, "I'm afraid 2 of 4 have already been taken." I guess Golbez is pretty determined. But the crystal at the castle is still here, and the tank successfully turned the Red Wings away. So despite never encountering airships before, it did pretty well against them. So the king says, "Would you support us with your airship?" But the problem is that the airship crashed, and Sid needs to repair it. The biggest problem is it can't fly over the lava because the lava is too hot, which makes me think of like Star Fox 64 and Slippy on whatever that whatever sun planet it was, like Solaris or something like that. So Sid says, "I have to go back to the upper world and wrap the body with mystic silver. See you later." And And just like that, Sid leaves, but he says he will be back. So the king says the crystal is safe behind my throne, but then Yang notices something. And we see a little girl bouncing around behind the throne room. So we're going to go to the back room to check out what's going on. So we end up being locked back here with these 4 girls. But apparently they're not girls, they're little dolls. So then the creepy music ensues. So it says, "We're the Calbrina, you fools. You've doomed yourselves." Now, I believe it's Calcabrina. She's a final dungeon boss in Final Fantasy XIV, who actually shares a lot of the, most of the gimmicks from this fight. So we start this fight out, and there are 6 minions. There's 3 orange and 3 purple. We're gonna do the usual, just meleeing with Rosa supporting. We're gonna berserk Yang. And they only do auto attacks, it's just a bunch of melee attacks. So we're gonna berserk and haste Yang. So with 2 remaining, it's not always 2, but she turns into the boss, which is Calcabrina. Now I should have moved Kain to the front line as soon as we lost Sid, although actually I guess I didn't have a chance. I should have done it before the cutscene started, but we'll just have him jump instead. And again, with Berserk and Haste, Yang he's like fantastic. I mean, he's just wailing on his targets. Just like that. Kain never even got a chance to land. 7,000 gil, 4750 XP. Yang grabs the level up. So they say you'll pay for this. Golbez already knows about this place. And with that, we have our next encounter with Golbez. So Golbez basically taunts Cecil and also saying that now that Tella's gone, they're not much of a threat. And then Golbez tells Cecil the reason he's collecting all the crystals is because it's the way to activate the Tower of Babel, which leads to the moon. And at the moon, there's insane powers awaiting to be taken. And with that, we are actually thrown into a fight with Golbez. So we're gonna have Kain jump. Everyone else is gonna melee. So if you time it the way I just did, Kain evades all of this because he's in the air jumping. So all of our party is paralyzed. Now I think in the translated one his pet dragon is Shinryu. I don't remember, and this is Shadow. And he just kind of wrecks the party. So now we have a mist dragon that shows up and wrecks the pet. So with Kane, we're gonna get Rosa up. Golbez is trying to figure out what the heck is going on. We get the paralyzed taken off. And everyone's trying to figure out what's going on. And with that, we have Rydia back. So we are going to summon Titan to do some nice damage with Kane. Let's get Rosa healed up. Let's get Yang back in action. Again, like I've said this a few times, I don't remember it being, like, he basically just got like one-shotted. Kane didn't even land, but could just be because their level's really high, I'm not really sure. But with that, Golbez is defeated, 11,000 gil, 4,000 XP, 2 level ups, pretty nice. But it does help that Kane evades everything, because normally the only person you have is Cecil and Rydia, and Golbez will target someone. Potentially, like if it's Cecil, well, it could be either one of them, I guess. But if he does hit pretty hard, but when you have Kane available, Kane can res someone. So it kind of speeds up the whole recovery process of the fight. So Rydia definitely looks different, and the party's wondering what happened. And then Rydia says, Leviathan swallowed me and took me to the land of the summoned monsters. So Rydia explains that's where all the summoned monsters live. She can't use any more white magic, but her black magic the potency has increased, and she is now like a full-on summoner, which in this version they call Caller. She then explains that time flows differently there, which is why she's grown up. And Kane's like, I can't believe that's the child that we encountered earlier. The queen of the summoner village said that a greater power of evil is at work, and that they all have to work together to confront it. So with that, we get Rydia, which, if you haven't noticed the trend, typically when we lose a party member, we gain one. But Golbez says, I do not perish. And this is probably my least favorite part in the entire story. But basically, the hand of Golbez, while the party looks on, goes towards the crystal and snatches it while teleporting away. You'd think you could just step on it, or cast a spell, or throw your shoe at it, or do something. So then the king says we gotta protect the last crystal. It's in the sealed cave towards the northwest, but no one can get in without the key. So Yang says, while Golbez is busy trying to get the last crystal, we can sneak in the tower and get the other crystals. And then the king says, we'll draw their attention with our tanks so you can sneak in. We gotta act quickly. So the king says, good luck, blah blah blah. We now have freedom to go all over the castle. There is a item and armor and weapon shop over here, so let's check that out. There is the Dwarf Axe, which Cecil and Kane can use, but not that fond of it. There is a Flame Spear, which Kane can use. Let's take a look. Okay, pick one up for him. Now we did have a bunch of stuff we needed to sell, so the 2 silver chest pieces, the hammers, silver sword, earth hammer. So getting plenty of gil for that. 4 silver shields, some ruby rings. And over here we have some of the fire gear. So the shield's not a big deal as far as gil goes, but this is 30,000, and that's the one we found in the Tower of Zot. So we're gonna pick up some rune rings and a wizard head and chest piece for Rydia, and a wizard headpiece for Rosa. So we're gonna equip them up. Get that rune ring on. Yeah, she was basically wearing nothing, so let's get that going. Oh, so earlier in the game, Rydia could use, I think she could use bow and arrow, but she mainly used like a rod or a staff. She can still use this, but now she can also use whips, which have a chance to, I believe, paralyze an enemy. Alright, let's get Rydia in the back room. There is some treasure to hunt down here. Now that dwarf axe, which was in the shop for like 35, what was it, 35? It was like 35 or 40,000 gil. You can just pick one up right there, which must be frustrating to anyone who originally just bought it and then noticed it was right there. So this part has a bunch of like hidden walls, I guess you could say. You just navigate it like this. I like that the dwarf NPCs just like take all our stuff. Got a nice elixir. And a black belt body piece. And alas, we don't need the naming way, so... let's rest up. And down here, there's a couple of goodies, I think. There's a fat chocobo. Don't think we need right now. Let me see, actually for Yang... that strength ring we got, which I think lowers his defense just slightly, but it ups his attack. And let's axe. And we'll keep the sword. We can always sell the axe and get like a punchy kill. So our next objective is to go towards the Tower of Babel to try to steal the crystals while Golbez is being occupied trying to get the last one. So when we return we will do that, but right now we got geared up. Probably going to spend a little time leveling between episodes, and then when we get back, first thing we're going to do is head to the castle and see what we can do to slow Golbez down. So as always, thanks for watching, and see you next time.